In this video tutorial, we will learn about encapsulation process of Python programming language. Basic principle of object-oriented language. In Python, the concept of object-oriented programming follows some basic principle. They are encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Here in this video, we will learn about encapsulation process only. Encapsulation. Hiding the private details of a class from other objects. That means we can declare some variable and functions as private and their access can be restricted from outside the class. It describes the idea of bundling data and methods that work on that data within one unit. Example class in Python. In other words, I can say that encapsulation is the process of binding data and methods into a single unit. This concept is also often used to hide the internal representation or state of an object from outside, and this is called information hiding. So in encapsulation, whatever the change and updatation are done within the class only. So this change cannot be reflected outside the class. Next, if we have an attribute that is not visible from outside of an object and bundle it with methods that provide read or write access to it, then we can hide specific information and control access to the internal state of the object. That means it is possible to change the value of some member variable within the class. For that, we require a public member function which will interact with the outside world. In Python, we denote private attribute using double underscore as prefix. That means when we write double underscore in front of any member variable or member function, then that variable or function becomes private, and those variable function cannot be used outside the class. I will repeat all these points again after showing you an example. So look at the example first. First of all, let me create a class computer. Within the computer class, let me define the constructor double underscore init double underscore self, and within the constructor let me define a member variable, and it is a private member variable. Since it is a private member variable, so we have to start with double underscore max price equal to, say, I am initializing this variable with, say, 900. Now let's create another member function, say cell, and then within the cell function, suppose I'm printing the value of the max price. So selling price equal to self dot double underscore max price. Since I have written double underscore before max price, so this will be treated as private member variable. This variable cannot be used outside this computer class. Now look, from the main code, we are creating an instance of this computer class, c equal to computer parenthesis open close, and using this instance we are calling the cell function. Here cell is a public member function, so we can easily call it from outside the class. Let's run the program. Look, selling price equal to 900. Now if I write double underscore in front of cell, and now if I run the program again, look, it is saying attribute error. Computer object has no attribute cell. This time this cell becomes a private member function, so it cannot be called from outside the class. So this is how a private member is restricted from accessing outside the class. So let me keep it as a public member function. Now if I print max price equal to, say, I'm writing c dot underscore underscore max price. Let's run the program. Look, it is again restricting this max price variable from accessing outside the class because it is a private member variable. Now look, one more thing. So let me delete this line. It is of no use. Suppose I am changing the price. For that I'm writing c dot double underscore max price equal to, say, I'm writing 1000. And after this line, again I'm calling the cell function. Now look what happened if I run the program. So it is printing 900, 900. That means when I am initializing a new value to the max price, it is not changing the max price within the computer class. It is a different variable. So the max price within the computer class remains same. So whenever I call the cell function for the second time, it is still showing 900. It's proved that we cannot change the private member variable of a class from outside. Now let's create another function def, and this time this is a private member function. it start with double underscore, then set max price. It will accept a parameter, say price. Under this function, let's initialize the member, private member variable, that is the max price, with the price variable. So this private member function set max price will accept a price from other source, and that value will be initialized with the private member variable max price, and this is acceptable because a member function is changing the value of a member variable, and that's why it is acceptable. Now let's create another function, and it is a public member function, and it accepts a parameter price. And under this, suppose I'm writing self dot underscore underscore, it will now call the private member function set max price. Let me copy this function and paste it over here, and it will accept a parameter price. So whatever may be the access specifier, it is private or public, member of a class can communicate with each other easily. So by using this set function, we are calling the private member function set max price, and it will send a price value to the set max price function, and the set max price function in return initialize the private member variable max price with the received value. Now we can change the value of private member variable from outside by using a setter function. For that I am writing using setter function. Now in the next line I am calling the set function with a new value 2000, and after that let's call the sell function. Let me run the program first. Sorry, there will be a closing parenthesis. Now look at the output. This time the value of max price becomes 2000. Look, when the set function is called with 2000, this 2000 will be passed to over here. That is, this set member function will accept this 2000 right over here, and in return it will call the private member function set max price with the value 2000. So this price will again move over here, so this will become 2000, and within this private member function it will initialize the private member variable with the new price 2000. So from outside we can access the public member function only, and since this public member function set is a member of computer class, it can access any member or variable within the class. Here in the set function I have not given any access to change the private member variable. So set member function simply call the set max price function with price as an argument, and obviously it is a private member function. This private member function is responsible for updation of the private member variable max price. So whenever we are calling the function c.sell or the sell function, so it is printing 2000 this time. Now let me go back to the presentation. Look, in the first point I have said hiding the private details of a class from the other objects. That's mean this max price and set max price attribute are hidden from outside the class. So the variable max price and the function set max price can only be accessed from within the class only. Next, it describes the idea of bundling data and method that work on that data within one unit, example a class in Python. So a class binds up all the private and public member variable and function, and this class acts as a single unit. Since from outside the computer class no one can access the private member variable max price and the private member function set max price function, so we can say that these two attribute is hidden outside the computer class, and this is what you say information hiding. So these two parameters, that is the max price and the set max price function, are completely invisible to the code outside the computer class. Next, if we have an attribute that is not visible from outside of an object, here in my example the private member variable max price and the private member function set max price, so these two attributes are not visible from outside, and bundle it with methods that provide read or write access to it. So I bundle this true attribute with the set function. Set function is calling the set max price, and set max price function in return initialize the max price variable. Then we can hide specific information and control access to the internal state of an object. So from outside the class we are hiding the private member variables and functions, and the code outside this class cannot have access on those attributes. And in other words, we can say that this code has no control over those attributes. And the last point, in Python, we denote private attribute using double underscores. So I have shown you at the very beginning that max price is a variable and it starts with double underscore. That's why it is treated as private variable. And in the same way, set max price function is a private function. In the next video, we will learn about polymorphism and another principle of object-oriented programming language. Thank you.